Hello and welcome. It is that time of year again. End of 2018. Time to talk about the top indie games of the year, in my opinion. And I played a lot of them. I added it up and I played over 300 different games on the channel this year. Basically something different pretty much every day with something new, just about. And I thought we should talk about and rank my favorites of the year. Typically, whenever I do these recordings, I don't give any sort of opinion. Obviously, I get games for free, and I, most of them anyway, and I also make money off of my Humble link and all that, so I try not to give opinions while I'm recording and showing off the games throughout the year, but that's out the window. I am going to be throwing opinions everywhere today. So I had a mighty list when I first made this up, just kind of getting an idea what I wanted to yammer on about here today. And I had 37 games on my list. I had to narrow it down to the top 13. The ones you see scrolling by here as we speak, as I speak anyway, are the ones that were previously on my list that I had to trim out. I should give out some of the prerequisites for this list. Some of these were, I tried to trim out some of the early access ones. Most of the games that I played this year, of course, were early access or new releases of this year. And the ones that are too early, I tried to trim out. Like things like Foundation and Land and Arm, those kinds of too early. I also tried to trim out the ones that were in last year's list. I failed on both accounts, but well, let's just get into the list and we'll see what I'm yammering on about here. We'll start this list off right with Seashanties and Whaling with Nantucket. We played back in January. The whole game is all about hiring a crew, getting yourself a ship, sailing around, making a quick buck by stabbing whales, all in the sort of Moby Dick story world of Moby Dick. I really had a lot of fun with this one. The RNG is a bit rough, but other than that, it's a lot of fun. We played all the way through the game. I streamed it, and we made it from the beginning to the end, killing Moby Dick. Spoilers, but certainly it deserves to be on the list, and it's at the 13th spot. Because I play a lot of indie games, this list might be a little different than your typical top list because I like the games that are a little bit different. And this number 12 hits that point, Simmiland. This one's it's a God game, which I'm a sucker for God games, but it's very simple yet complex. It was originally developed by Sock Pop, who just crank out a new game like every 3 weeks or so. Just these little almost like flash games. And this one they've continued to develop a little bit further because it did so well. A little $5 game. It's on Steam now. But basically, you start out as you're trying to build humanity. You've got a bunch of stupid little humans, and it's your job to guide them into building, axes and houses, and eventually electricity and computers and rockets if everything goes right. Or you can throw meteors at them if you want. But yeah, it's a nice little God game. It's not too complex. It's not too simple. Yeah, it belongs on the list. It probably won't be on any other lists out there, but it's on mine. Number 11 is Equilinox. This one was actually developed by a YouTuber. He showed the whole process off on his channel over like the past 3 years or so. It looks like a nature sim, but it's really more, I'd say, city builder with plants and animals is probably the best way of describing it. You start with nothing, and you have to start out throwing pieces of grass and flowers and eventually work your way up into different biomes, and you start getting your forests and your jungles and your deserts, and trying to get everything to sort of work together, and all the animals happy, have all the things that they need for them to thrive and reproduce and all that. It's really a lot of fun, and I wasn't going to put that on the list because I've only started playing it, but yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it, and this list is about what I have been enjoying this year, so it deserves number 11 spot. Number 10 is Nimbatus, developed by Strafon. This one it's kind of similar to the other drone construction games. There's a few of these out there. The thing about this one that I like so much is the automation part of it. You can build your ship, throw on like lasers and cannons and whatever else you want to do with the thing. But you can do it all automated. You've got sort of guidance lasers that can drive the thing around, and you command what you want it to do in certain situations. It has, the other thing that I really like about it is this sumo mode that it has. It also has a new racing mode that has been added into the game where you go against other bots that other folks have made, and you just kind of let the thing go. You program it up, and you let it play out and hope that it does what you want it to do. So yeah, the whole automation part of it is what I really like about Nimbatus, and that's why it's at number 10. Number 9 is Farlone Sails. This one is the sort of atmospheric more style to the game, adventure, I suppose, where you are in control of this junky ship. You're doing everything you can to keep the thing alive, making your way across the wasteland. and more sort of, I guess, atmospheric adventure might be a best way of classifying it. I think it was developed by a couple high school kids or maybe college kids. But yeah, it's really short, but it's a really great little indie game. Number 8 was on the list last year, and it belongs on there again this year. It's Frostpunk. It hit version 1.0 this year. I had a pre-release version last time, and yeah, it's just as good as I hoped it would be. Especially now that the endless mode has been added in. I think all city builders need some sort of endless mode. I don't want to just play scenarios, and now that that's in there, it's definitely worth it. It's a sort of frozen, post-apocalyptic, cyberpunk kind of a theme with morality questions and all of that. But it's a lot of fun and deserving to be on there again. Cheating a little bit, but getting on the list again. Sticking with that weird theme with number 7 with Galimulator. This is it's a sandbox, a simulation, a ant farm, if you wish, where you sit back and sort of watch empires do their thing. You can actually go in and manage an empire if you want. But the thing I like about this one is there's just so much going on. There's a lot of complexity here. It doesn't look like it, but within each empire, there are ship captains, and those ship captains may go up to be emperor, and there's rising and falling of technologies and wars and alliances and big empires being formed. It's just a lot of fun. Of course, I've used it a lot this year during my streams for giving giveaways and death matches and all of that. But I've really enjoyed this one, and it belongs on the list. Kind of high up, maybe a little too high, but number 7, Galimulator. Number 6 is one of the best roguelikes I have ever played, Unreal World. I finally got around to playing it this year in March during my roguelike month, and I'm glad I did. It's a sort of Icelandic Iron Age wilderness survival game. It has a ton of depth. It was originally developed in '92. And so there's a ton of depth with this game. It ranks up there along with Cataclysm and Dungeon Crawl and all the best roguelikes out there. If you are a fan of roguelikes, this is definitely one to get. I think it's free from their website. You can get it for a couple bucks on Steam. But it's a very good roguelike. I think I even streamed it this year as well. But it could easily be number 1. We'll squeeze it in at number 6 this time. Number 5, we're getting weird again with 1 Hour, 1 Life. This one, I think, was also developed by just one person over the course of many years. And it finally hit Steam this year, and I finally got a chance to play it. And it took me a little bit to get into. It's strange, and if everything's not working right, it doesn't quite work. But it really requires, it's a multiplayer, and it really requires a big teamwork with other folks, and you have to try to get a society going. And if everything goes well, people pass along the knowledge because you only get 1 hour to live. You're born to a human, you slowly work your way up, and then you get old and die. Maybe you will birth other humans out in the world as well. You have to try to take care of them so that they will help you and pass along the knowledge to build your community as well. It's really a lot of fun as long as folks are cooperating, and it seems to have a pretty good community. So, strange one, but really a lot of fun. Number 5 on my list. Number 4 is Graveyard Keeper. It's sort of the strange cousin of Stardew Valley, where everything in Stardew Valley is very happy and jolly and peaceful. This one's a little bit on the darker and stranger side, where you die, you could become a keeper of a graveyard in some strange world where skulls talk to you, and there's witches getting burned, and it's a little bit darker, but it's still a fantastic game, and there's all kinds of open-ended gameplay, just like Stardew Valley, where you have many options and different choices and paths that you want to take living in this strange world. But number 4, Graveyard Keeper. Number 3 breaks my early access rule with Ymir, which it belongs on this list because I've played a lot of this one this year, and it's really a lot of fun. It's not even on Steam early access yet. You can only pick it up on the website in the limited number of keys that go out every month. It's a sort of Pharaoh-style civilization game. A city builder meets empire builder with pigs. You start out with one town. You eventually can get big enough to have multiple towns out there and getting trade going and trying to build a civilization, starting from the Stone Age, working your way up through the Iron Age. And it's mostly focused on multiplayer, so you've got other pig empires out there doing the same thing as you. And you can be going to war and alliances and building these massive empires throughout the world. Really a lot of fun. I'm eager to see where this one eventually ends up going, especially once it gets onto Steam and gets more traction. But Amir definitely deserves to be number 3, even if it is a little bit early access. Number 2 is StarSector. Again, another one that's not quite full release, but it's been in development for a very long time. And the reason it's on the list this year, even though I've played it in previous years, is because of the new update that allows base building. This one's a sort of a space sim, right? You can do whatever you want. You can be a bounty hunter. You can go and be a trader. If you want to be boring, you can be a pirate. You can start building up your own fleet, any kind of fleet that you want. And now with a new update, you can build bases, and you can start having a bit of an industry going and sort of building your own empire. And that's the reason that it is on the list now. And so high at number 2, I got to play more of this one, and I will be playing more of this one next year for sure. Probably plan on a few live streams of this one. But StarSector, in development for like 12 years or something like that. But yeah, it's an excellent game and well worth the number 2 spot. Before we hit number 1, I want to do a couple of honorable mentions. There's a few games here that deserve to be on the list, but for one reason or another, I have pushed them off, and we should talk about them. Number 1 being RimWorld. RimWorld hit 1.0 this year, so you think it should be on the list, but I had it on the list last year, and there wasn't really much differences with the beta version from last year and 1.0, so I felt I'll exempt it from the list this year because of that. But it is an amazing game. It is one of the best games ever, in my opinion. Top 10 easily. If you're using this list as some sort of guide on what game you should buy, RimWorld, it should be number 1 on that list. Anytime anyone asks me what game I should get, yeah, that's the one. It has so much replayability to it, and then with all the depth, of course, in the game, and with all the modding also available in the game, you can put many hundreds of hours in the game. I have, it's Dwarf Fortress with a good UI. Basically, is what the game is, and certainly worth a spot on the list somewhere. So we'll squeeze it in here. Another one is Dominions 5. It was on the list last year, and there was no development really from last year to here, so that's why it's not on the list. But I have discovered multiplayer, of course, with Dominions 5, and that just amps it up that much more. The game is made for multiplayer, even though it's poorly designed in the game. It's the best strategy game that has come out in at least a few years. I've kind of lost my interest in the Civilization series. I think Dominions is certainly taking that spot over for me anyway. And then the other one is Dwarf Fortress, which should be on number 1, but we didn't really have any updates with Dwarf Fortress. All 3 of these could be number 1, I suppose. But Dwarf Fortress didn't get any new updates. It got a few, but nothing big this year. So I didn't feel it was fair to put it in the list because of that. So we'll put it right here. And number 1 is Kenchi. So Kenchi was on the list last year, and it hit 1.0 like RimWorld, but it had a lot of development throughout the year. So I felt that qualified it to be back on the list. And when I look at all the games that I played, by far I had more fun playing this one than anything else, even including things like Dwarf Fortress and RimWorld. So it certainly deserves the top spot. It's a sort of squad-based RPG. If you're not familiar with it, post-apocalyptic. Do whatever you want out in the world. Even with my many hours of playing and year and a half or so of playing the game, I still have not gotten maybe half the map, maybe not even that, discovered. So there is a ton to this game, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. And it's the one I look forward to playing the most every week. I do a live stream on Sundays. And yeah, so it deserves the top spot for my list of 2018. So I am curious what everyone else's favorite games are. If you have your favorite, put them in the comments, 1, 2, and 3, whatever. Have I missed any of them? I know last year people were complaining I didn't put Cataclysm, Dark Days Ahead in, and I was going to do it again this year. It didn't have enough updates to qualify in the main list, for my opinion anyway. Thanks again for watching throughout the entire year. 2018 is over now. Bring on 2019. I know a lot of folks are complaining about the 2018 games. Well, you shouldn't be playing AAA games. You're playing indie games, because I had a lot of fun this year, and I found a lot of really good games that we'll be playing into next year. I'm eager to see what we will be getting next year. So thanks again for watching, and I will see you next.